Hello for the 21st Sunday in Ordinary Time using the first and third reading. The first one, the Gospel, as far as Luke 13:22 to 30, and the first reading, Isaiah 66:18 to 21. And sort of the title is, how many people are going to be saved? The perennial question. How many people are going to wind up going to heaven? It seems like we continue to think about this or ask ourselves, why be one of the people who be saved? And how many people are going to be saved? Well, I just think it's interesting to look at the Old Testament sort of idea and Jesus' idea, and of course, your idea, my idea. First of all, someone asked Jesus the question, Lord, how many people will be saved? Or the direct quote is, let's see, the direct quote is, Lord, will only a few people be saved? And Jesus does not answer that with, billions or millions. And he doesn't answer that, but he answered very few. Really? Lord, will only a few people be saved? Whoever asked that question. And then he answers, well, just a few. Most people are going to go to hell. He didn't say that at all. He says, strive to enter through the narrow gate. Well, what's the narrow gate? Wide interpretation. Many people think it really is the narrow gate, and they make a crazy statement like the whole world's going to hell in a handbasket. The narrow gate. Few people. Most everyone not going to make it. The world's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Well, I don't think that was the message of the Jewish people or Isaiah the prophet. I don't think that was the real message of Jesus in the New Testament. I don't think that's the message of the church today. So Jesus counteracts with, you gotta try, or as far as strive, to enter through the narrow gate. There's all kinds of things with the narrow gate. Sometimes I like to think, if you make it to heaven, it's like winning the lottery. If I were, maybe whoever asked that question, I think it was Peter, but at any rate, if I were Christ and asked that question, how many are there few to be saved and so forth? In a sense, I'd say, Lord, do you think I could win the lottery? Or, Lord, do you think I'm going to go to heaven? And do you think my parents and all my brothers and sisters and so forth are gone to heaven, those who died? Is everybody going to be saved? Is it only going to be the people of this particular religion? Are few saved? Most not. Well, I think our religion is much more positive than that. If you look at Isaiah in the Old Testament, they're talking about the different people that the Lord is dealing with, or the Lord's thoughts. Quote, I know their thoughts, their works, and I come together nations of every language, and they shall come and see my glory. Well, here through Isaiah the prophet saying, the Lord is saying, and in the mind of the Lord, many nations and many people and languages. Well, in a sense, universal salvation. Hmm. To me, that's very positive. But the Lord didn't answer, quoting Isaiah. The church quotes Isaiah with that. The Lord says, go try to live through going through the narrow gate. Well, what in the heck is the narrow gate? I personally think the Lord is saying, there's a bunch of people and we got to get them through the gate. And there's so many people, it seems that's, it's going to take some time and real effort to get through the narrow gate. Well, how do you do this? It's not just build the gate wider and let it more people in, but I think he's talking about the narrow gate is that I try not just sort of, but try harder and harder to do the right thing. It's hard to do the right thing. It's difficult to know what I do and if it's okay with the Lord. And we examine ourselves periodically or often, or we should do more. Am I trying to do the right thing? And we get ourselves stuck in corners or stuck in a life's process, is maybe that's not the right thing to do. This might be the right thing to do. And so you examine yourself. Where am I with the Lord? Don't ever stop. Keep thinking that. But you make a human judgment, and your human judgment is that I did that. Was that right? Should I apologize? Should I give more? Should I help this person? Should I challenge another person? What's I going to do with my life? All of this is one individual like you and me going through a lifetime of 50 to 100 years and trying to work all of that stuff out. Doesn't it seem like to get to heaven, there is a narrow gate? But doesn't it seem that Isaiah is saying it's a multitude Jewish people? It's not just Jewish people, it's all languages, Jewish people, Jew and Gentile. And isn't that seemingly what the church is saying? Doesn't the church preach and teach that all people are saved unless they decide not to be saved? It's up to the individual, me personally, responding to the will of God Himself. And so that's why don't try to judge your neighbor. Don't try to judge the world or the president or just our country. And don't just make everybody else bad and we're good. I'm good. Hmm. I find it's interesting. You know what? I do believe that when they have the lottery and there's one grand prize, only one gets the grand prize. And maybe a few other people with smaller prizes. But as far as all the other people get nothing for their money, nothing for their energy. So, I don't know who asked Jesus that question, but I'm glad they did. But I'm not real comfortable on who has the best answer. I guess the best answer is we don't know for sure. We might know finally who wins the lottery, and it's one person. But we all will know finally if it is me or you or this person or that person, or all persons. We won't know even we in this life, we won't know the percentage of the persons. But what do you think? Do you think you'll be saved? Do you think there's a great number or a small number? What do you think? If you asked Jesus that same question of that someone who came out and asked as far as will there be just a few saved? Hmm, it's still there, isn't it? At least it is for me. Have a good day.